Good morning, everybody. It's very early in the morning. It's 3:52 in the morning. I got up somewhere around minutes to 3. I had a good night's sleep, but I still need to sleep some. But I want to talk a little bit about Canelo hate. I'm listening to a lot of people, and they are in disbelief about Canelo. And they're talking about Canelo's power, and they thinking he's doping and all this stuff. Listen. Kovalev was the harder puncher in the fight with Canelo versus Kovalev. Let's start with that. Kovalev was the harder puncher. A lot of you guys gonna think Canelo was the harder puncher in that fight. And I can't definitively say this, but I'm gonna tell y'all how I come with this. First of all, look at Canelo's face, how marked up it was, and Kovalev did not hit Canelo that much. All right, he did not hit Canelo that much in the fight. Canelo said that Kovalev's power is markedly different. Okay, he said it was markedly different. Canelo said that. Canelo was ripping Kovalev with some vicious shots. And Kovalev was taking them pretty good, unless he got hit to the body. He didn't take those pretty well. But other than that, he was taking those shots pretty well. And the reason that Canelo looked like he was the harder puncher was because of how sharp Canelo is and how quick he is. His speed and his quickness is just in a different level to Kovalev because he's coming up in weight. And I like what everybody's saying, Canelo look like a Hulk and he looked really shredded, and that's bullshit. Canelo didn't look that shredded, okay? To me, Canelo looked like Canelo. He looked the same size he usually be. You guys can go and compare him with the Triple G fights. You can go compare him with the Danny Jacobs fights. Canelo was the same size he usually be, okay? Kovalev was actually bigger than Canelo. If you watch on Fight Night, he was bigger than Canelo. The problem is that a lot of people think that Kovalev is this fast puncher. All of a sudden, Kovalev got these sharp, fast punches. Compared to Canelo, he looked slow as fuck, okay? He even looked a little bit sloppy with his shots. But Kovalev always punched that way. And we saw Kovalev pick up the pace and really start to rip it. I think it was in round 2, or round 3. We saw Kovalev all ripping it in round 10. That was a good fight. Kovalev was really ripping his punches. Round 8 and so on. It's just that Canelo is that much sharper. Now, the other thing is Canelo is that much more just all around. His game is that much more honed. So he looks very precise in everything he's doing. He's not like Anthony Yarde, where Anthony Yarde, he's not as sharp as Canelo. Canelo's sharp. Like, he's fucking sharp, okay? Sharper than Andre Ward, okay? And the reason that is because, one, Canelo did not have to lose weight, whereas Kovalev had to lose weight. And then that rehydration clause, like I told you guys, took from Kovalev. This is the best I've seen Canelo fight, actually. Danny Jacobs, of course, is a quicker fighter than Kovalev, but Danny Jacobs even looked sloppy against Canelo. And Canelo was rolling punches and doing all kinds of shit on the inside. Canelo was fighting a totally different fight to Danny Jacobs, still walking him down. He fought a different fight, 2 different fights against Triple G, walking him down. But particularly in Kovalev fight, I'm going to tell y'all, see, I wanted to break down this fight and explain it to you guys, including Intangible Boxing and Company. You guys going to see this video. I'm not going to take too long. But Canelo particularly looked sharp in this fight. He didn't look very sloppy because, one, he didn't have to lose no weight. He came in 175 to 180 pounds, which was what he always fight. So he didn't put on extra mass. He just didn't have to lose as much mass. And he did eat a lot more because when you exercise and train, you naturally lose weight. So he had to put back on some of the weight. But he was very healthy for this fight. Kovalev, I'm going to say this again. Kovalev was the one that had the strain on his body for a number of different reasons, right? First one is coming out of the tough fight, body didn't fully recoup. The second reason was the rehydration clause, which put a little bit more strain on his body. And we can see that he really had strain on his body because he did not make weight easily. He didn't just come in there and make weight. He had to do it in 3 attempts. And that was a warning sign. So those things took from him. And even though he came in properly rehydrated, what I mean by that is he came in probably 195, somewhere there. Okay, even though he came in on fight night that Canelo's probably outweighed by he probably outweighed Canelo by 20, 15 to 20 pounds. Okay, but even though that might have been the case, the thing is, and he's a hell of a harder puncher than Canelo. Okay, that's just clearly the case. The thing about it was Canelo had the quickness and he had the sharpness and then he had the boxing IQ to handle a Kovalov. Okay, it was a chess match in there. Kovalov boxed beautifully. This is the best I've ever seen Kovalov box. And a lot of you guys are talking about how Kovalov fought as if he was afraid of Canelo. Yeah, he was trying to protect his body, and he did a great job of that. Canelo got one or two punches to the body. Actually, Canelo got a couple punches to the body of Kovalov. But Kovalov kept on trying to catch him. So even when he was getting hit to the body, he was bracing for the impact. Canelo was very, very quick. So what made Kovalov tentative is the counter punching of Canelo. Kind of like how Oscar was tentative against Floyd. Oscar destroyed Ricardo Mayorga. But when it came to Floyd Mayweather, he could not destroy Floyd Mayweather. Floyd fought mostly circling Oscar. He wasn't pushing Oscar back. Canelo knows how to keep his defense. So let me tell you why the high guard worked. When Canelo's walking to Kovalov, let me demonstrate. Now, some of you guys, I was listening to Showbiz the Adult, and he understood exactly what was happening in this fight. And Kovalov needed that speed against Canelo. So Kovalov naturally has power. He naturally has heavy hands. So his thing was to box Canelo. And if you look at Kovalov's performance against Canelo, you look at his performance against Elita Alvarez, and you look at his performance against Anthony Yarde, you're going to see the same thing. Okay? It was a similar performance. It's just that Canelo was so fucking sharp. It wasn't that he was punching harder than Kovalov. It's just how sharp his counters were, how sharp his punching was, that he made Kovalov look like he was slow. He made Kovalov look like he wasn't throwing nothing with some heat behind it. But Kovalov was throwing some heat. Again, this is boxing, but a lot of you guys, see, you guys are such haters. You want to make excuses for Kovalov. You want to make excuses for Canelo's opponent. And I said this was a shit fight. I did say that. But what I saw from Kovalov told me this was not a shit fight. Okay? Let me go into this. So, I'm going to demonstrate a little bit so you guys can understand what I'm saying. Okay? Kovalov wanted to counter Canelo to the body. But when you're coming with this stance here, and you're leaning in like this, coming in on your opponent, leaning in, there is no body shot to get. You have to hook around it. Okay? You're going to have to hook around that shot. Because if Canelo, for instance, is coming after you, okay? He's coming after you. I'm in the orthodox stance. He's coming after you, and you now peppering him with that jab. This is Kovalov's basic stance. Peppering him with the jab, staying off. Peppering him with the jab. All right? Keeping that jab in his face, okay? Kovalov kept that jab in Canelo's face. But Canelo is leaning in. So he really here. So he can go all the way back here if he needs to, right? Now, his guard is so fucking tight that you can't even go around the guard because his arms, Canelo got big, big fucking arms. You see, Canelo is built like Gervonta Davis, like fucking Adrian Broner. He's built like a fucking tank. Okay? This kid been boxing since Floyd Mayweather built like a tank. Andre Berto's built like a tank. These motherfuckers are built like tanks. And the thing about these tanks, both Gervonta Davis, Adrian Broner, Floyd Mayweather, not so much Andre Berto, and Canelo, is they got defense. I keep on telling you guys this. All right? Now, Canelo strategically used this particular guard against Kovalov for a reason, folks. For a reason. With the high guard leaning in, okay? Gennady Golovkin does something like this. I offer you the front of my body. The back of my body is way behind. Marcus Maidana does the same thing, but Marcus Maidana does it from this stance. And he will lean in on you. But, his body's way behind. So to get to his body, you got to go all the way past his lead hands. In which case, he got a quicker route to you. Either way. And you have to him. I'm showing you, I'm facing you so you can see it. If my hands are way out here, Look at it from the side. My body's way back there. I can always tuck it back in like this. And I still counting you. Okay? So I'm way out here leaning in on you and I'm walking to you. Alright, so that's what Canelo was doing. The other thing, Buddy McGirt wanted Kovalev to go to Canelo's body. Don't jab to the head, jab. But when Canelo leans in like that, his height gets even lower. So you end up jabbing to Canelo's head. And what do? Swivel out of the way. Or catch it on the guard. Catch it on the guard, swivel out of the way. And he's coming in off an angle. See, watch at me. I'm coming in off an angle. Can you see that? Can you see I'm coming in on you off an angle? Okay? So whether Canelo's coming in from this side or he's coming in from this side, he's coming in off an angle. Okay? And he can do it like this and inch it. My guard's not perfect, but my guard's supposed to catch me. Supposed to protect me all the way down. So he can inch it like this. Or what he was doing, coming close to you and going back. Coming close to you, coming back. He changing range all the time. Like I said, you can't land nothing in the box if you can't get their rhythm. Okay? And the hardest thing that Andy Jacobs explained was, I couldn't find his rhythm. And the particular guard that Canelo has protects him from the uppercut. It protects him from the straight right hand. If Kovalev tried to get that straight right hand around Canelo's guard, that means he's going to try and get weak side. Canelo can swivel back. And when he comes with the right hand across here, come back with a counter to the body. Shot! And we saw that a couple of times. Or gets past the right hand. So he goes back or he goes under to the right, the left. So let me show you. So Kovalev comes with it. He catches he's forward here. He catches the right hand. And then look at his foot position. He gets all his weight off to the left to rip the left to the body. Okay? So there's a number of different ways. And when you expose yourself throwing the right, you expose this side of your body. Now Kovalev, even though he has a nice stance here, nice wide stance, right? And he can, he can mix it up and he changing levels. He can stay high sometimes and he's down low here. Okay, he changed levels on Canelo. The problem with it is, once you let off that right hand, there's no protection on the right side unless you pivot. And you got to pivot with the punch, which means he would have to go this way, which would be going into the Canelo's right hand, which is why Canelo landed spleen shots on him a couple times in the night. Okay? So Canelo, one of the things, when Kovalev threw his jab, Canelo would counter the jab, right? Once Kovalev did this, Canelo would, so he's here, he could catch the jab and come back with his own counter, and he did that a lot. So because of the angle he was at, he could pivot off to the left, sort of like, and catch him with a body shot, or I think he would go with it. So he'd go under, catch him with the spleen shot, and then pull back out. All right? Back out. All right? So that's the kind of thing that was going on in the fight. Canelo was still getting his body shots in, but he wasn't really getting body shots with combinations. Even though once or twice he caught Kovalev with combinations to the body. But Canelo himself said Kovalev protected his body well. Canelo actually said he surprised him a little bit, and the fight went on a little bit longer because he protected his body well. But the one thing y'all listen, if you listen carefully to what Canelo said, it's the one thing that great boxers like Floyd, Canelo, Whitaker, these guys keep their composure. They prepare very well for fights, but they keep their composure. Now, for people who are saying Canelo was doping and shit like that, I can't vouch for him because he's been caught before. But from what I seen from his physique, he wasn't doping. And people talking about he was shredded and he looked like a Hulk. Listen, man, he was less shredded than in the Danny Jacobs fight. Danny Jacobs fight, he was much more shredded than that on the scales. And that's because he had to make weight more. So he had to drop with mass. So, he'd be more shredded. Here, he looked normal. He looked natural. He still had his pack, his six pack, but not as defined. Kovalev looked bad on the way in. And another reason why Kovalev boxed the fight that he boxed, which was a sensible fight to box anyway, was because, he had to box Canelo. Okay, now a lot of people say, well, he was fighting off the back foot. The best way to face Canelo is to mix it up. He never really got to fight on the front. He did fight on the front foot, I think, in the 8th round. But for the most part, Canelo was just nullifying anything he tried to do because Canelo would just keep range outside of range. Or even when he got Canelo on the ropes, Canelo had that nice guard and movement that Kovalev couldn't really land the headshots. He caught him with one body shot, I think a good body shot. But other than that, he didn't really land nothing. And so he kind of backed off. When he realized that Canelo's defense was just so tight against the ropes, he backed off on Canelo. He realized, man, I can't even land shit on him. Try to pick him apart and get something. And he just keep on showing me all these different angles. So I think a lot of people think that Kovalev was trying to spark Canelo. Now, Buddy McGirt's idea, and Buddy McGirt said this time and time again, was that against Canelo, they're looking to do what he did in the amateurs. Some people say, Kovalev looked like he fighting an amateur fight, like a sparring session. He was doing what he did in the amateurs. He was boxing Canelo, all right? And Kovalev can box very well. I'm telling you, man. When I looked at the fight, it was scored 5-5 on my scorecard. Kovalev had won 5 rounds. Canelo had won 5 rounds. Canelo was going to go ahead in the 11th round. But, it was an evenly matched fight. It was really Canelo's fight. He was fighting a Canelo fight, the typical Canelo fight. Canelo against Ward. Canelo against Jacobs was like that. Canelo versus Triple G was like that. Canelo versus Aristotle Lara was like that. So Canelo has now evolved to a level where he's using a particular type of guard to negate the offense that you would have. So Kovalev didn't have as much success to the body because Canelo, 1, kept himself low, 2, leaned forward with a high guard, so it was hard to get around that high guard. Even when he tried to do the right hooks to the head, Kovalev, he was testing out the right hook to the head, it was blocked. So Canelo was blocking a lot of his shots. Canelo did get caught with 1 or 2 crisp, sharp shots by Kovalev, but for the most part, he didn't get caught much. Still got marked up, and that's to tell you. Canelo said when he was catching those punches on the guard, he realized how hard this dude hit, and it's a different weight class. So Canelo, and Buddy McGirt wanted Kovalev to hit him everywhere and anywhere, and Kovalev was trying to do that, but it was very hard to do because, again, the guard that Canelo chose, it wasn't like he was using the shoulder roll. The guard that he chose was a guard, and then Canelo wasn't staying in one position, just walking to him with one guard. He was changing position all the time. He was moving the guard forward. He was moving the guard backwards. He was swiveling with the guard. So that made for, and then sometimes he would use the roving guard. He would pick off shots with that same guard because, man, boxing is such a beautiful sport. You can't hold your guard too tight. If you keep your guard too tight, all right, anytime you tense up and you keep your guard, you have to be relaxed. If you keep your guard too tight, the guy can go around your guard and hit you because your reaction time to getting your guard back is slower. So there's a lot to boxing, right? And I know a lot of you guys don't know all this stuff about boxing. But if I keep let's say I'm here and I keep my guard super tight here, right? I tense up my muscles. When you tense up your muscles, they can't react the way that they need. So if the guy, if he hooks you this way and he'll knock you this way, right? Now, because your guard's so tense, you can't get that guard into position here to block the punch right here. That might be another hook. So he can catch you on the other side with a hook. All right? So even though you see these guys and they look like their guard is tensed up, they're still relaxed enough to be able to react to punches slightly. So the guard can change here. Sometimes Canelo will roll and he'll block it this way. So block you here. If you're coming down the center, you can get it to close up. If you're too tense, you can't react enough, and then it can catch you with a shot. And Canelo's sharp, but he didn't tense up. And again, this is by keeping your composure, staying calm. Canelo's a very calm fighter. That leads to more explosiveness, and because he's trained so much and he's done this thing so many times, he can do it very, very well. So there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't tell you about boxing. But as you start a box or you listen to people who box, you begin to realize, there's all these little things that guys pick up with other guys. And Kovalev, he was very good, very fluid, very nice. He was boxing really sweetly. Loved the pivot work that he was doing, especially after he threw a shot. He pivoted out the way, made it harder for Canelo to get to the body, but Canelo still made an adjustment and cut off the ring on him. He cut off Kovalev. He sidestepped Kovalev, and then when Canelo was ready, he would get in on the body. Now I listened to my boy Intangible Boxing, and he was saying that um, Canelo wasn't doing much in those rounds. He was doing quite a lot, and it was a lot of body work. He was laying the foundation, and he was very accurate with his punches. He wouldn't waste no punches. He would miss some shots, but he was still very accurate, and I guess the punch stats would show that. So Canelo has a lot of experience with his style. He's evolved quite a lot with his style, and he can do a lot of different things. And just the high guard kept Canelo from getting hit with uppercuts, right hooks, straight rights. The jab even didn't really land on Canelo because of, again, the high guard and the way how he was using the high guard. Now, having said, and it wasn't the high guard, sorry, it was the close guard, the two guard. Okay, it wasn't a high guard because he was keeping the guard covering his entire body. So that's what made it hard for Kovalev, and that's why he was able to push Kovalev back. And he wasn't doing it in a very reckless manner. He was doing it in a systematic manner, inching in on Kovalev, constantly inching in on him. And he's a smaller dude. He definitely was a smaller dude, and we saw it in the 8th round when Kovalev was trying to get at him. But again, when Kovalev tried to get at Canelo would use the necessary footwork to stay out of range, because Canelo can fight off the back foot as well. So it was pretty hard for Kovalev to be able to do that. And I was listening to Beeb, and I was listening to Ringside Reporter, and Ringside Reporter thought Kovalev was up 7-5. I didn't see that. Actually, to be honest with you, I thought Canelo was more effective in the rounds and putting the bodywork foundation. Kovalev had more difficulty going to Canelo's body than Canelo did to Kovalev's body. Now, again, I listened to Beeb say that, and I was listening to G Funky and also Reggie Owens. I was listening to them as well, and I was listening to Boxing Beats and Rhymes, and a lot of them thought, well, some of them thought, not Beeb, but the other three thought that Kovalev was up on the cards. I did not see that. Also, I did not think that Kovalev's strategy was implemented. I thought it was a Canelo fight, Canelo strategy so far. If it was up to Kovalev, I think he would have tried to exert his dominance and back up Canelo. And he tried in the first round to do that. It was just that, like I said before, it's hard to get Canelo's rhythm. And if you're fishing in space to find your opponent because you can't get their timing and you don't know where they are in space, as much as Canelo stood in front of Kovalev, it's a very tough task you have. So Kovalev tried to keep his D on point, his defense. You could see he was a little bit apprehensive about Canelo hitting him. He was grimacing for certain shots that might come. But I think that's a good thing to be apprehensive about body shots. And he protected his body very, very well, which opened up his head to get the head shots, which eventually led to the stoppage. But I would say that even so, he boxed very well, right? He boxed very well against Canelo. But I would say that Canelo, man, this dude just keep on wowing people. And haters gonna hate. I listen to Reggie Owens and all those guys. Now, I thought that Canelo was controlling the fight. I thought that Canelo was landing the shots he wanted to land. It took a little bit longer for the effects of the shots to wear on Kovalev. They were expecting to get him out of there probably earlier. But Kovalev showed, not only did he show that he had a lot in the tank to go those 11 rounds, but he was competitive. He was wearing down, but he still knew what to do defensively to keep in the game. And I thought that was really good. Buddy McGirt had him boxing pretty well. And we had an even fight going into the 11th round. So that's to tell you the credit. I mean, this is the best I've seen Kovalev box, defensively and offensively. I think that Canelo finally wore him down in the 11th. And also combination of fatigue, dehydration, that effect of trying to make weight, the fact that he was so big. I think that's what really kind of capitulated the whole thing as well. But Canelo did increase the intensity in round 11. He went after him. He was instructed by his trainer to take out Kovalov. The interesting thing about this fight that I didn't mention was Kovalov took out Anthony Yarde in the 11th round as well. He took out Anthony Yarde in the 11th round. And in the 8th round, you saw Kovalov, sort of implementing his dominance on Canelo, which was the 8th round where Anthony Yarde had his good stint against Kovalov. So I thought that was pretty interesting how this fight was a mirror image of the Yarde versus Kovalov fight. And Yarde didn't do as well as Kovalov did against Canelo. Yarde didn't do as well against Kovalov as Kovalov did against Canelo, but Yarde was doing the strategy that you need. Even Elita Alvarez and all of them. Now, people saying that Kovalov wasn't stopped by a body punch. True, but it was body work that set up that head work. And again, I'll demonstrate. So one of the things you guys got to understand is in boxing, you have to set up a knockout. Okay? Canelo, sorry, my bad. Canelo gets into position, sidesteps you, and then rips a left hook. He rips, without looking, his head goes this way. He rips left hooks, okay? He'll rip a left hook to the body, but the way how he telegraphs a left hook, the way how he rips left hooks, he could, with the same action, rip a left hook to the head, okay? Canelo was continuously ripping left hooks to Kovalov's body. Now this came over 2 right hands. He stunned Kovalov first of all with a right hand. He caught him with an overhand right. He sidestepped Kovalov and hit him with an overhand right. He shuffled to the side of Kovalov and hit him over on weak side. And Kovalov went this way, right? He hit him again. And that's when Kovalov sort of took it pretty good, but he stumbled the first time with the first right. The second right, took it pretty good. And he stumbled across. And Canelo caught him, and what stunned him was the left hook. The left hook that Canelo ripped on him, Kovalov thought was going to be a left hook to the body. So you saw Kovalov drop his guard and protect himself to get that left hook to the body. And he got a left hook to his head. He partially blocked it, but still got a left hook to his head. That stunned him. All right? And he was done already tired. He was getting beaten out with body punches, but he was doing pretty well. He was taking them pretty well, even though some of them, you could see it hurt him visibly. But he was taking him pretty well. But that left hook to the head stunned him. And then Canelo finished him off. He was already stunned, right? He finished him off with a devastating overhand right, which was a short, chopping right. And again, Canelo got in position, and he came down with a short, chopping overhand right. Boom. Okay, it was fast. It was quick. Boom. And it just, you saw his head do all this. His head just went all over the place. He was gone. He was knocked out. He's strong in the sense that he slumped to the ground instead of falling through the ropes, right? The ropes saved him. He was going to fall out the ring. He fell on the ropes and he was gone, baby. He was gone. He was not going to get up. People talking about the 10 count. That's a combination. That's right hand, left hook. He did 2 right hands. Canelo had to use 2 right hands and a left hook and then another right hand to put him down, which tells you that Canelo don't got that power like those other light heavyweights. He doesn't have that kind of power, but he's so fucking sharp and he throws punches so quick. He's faster than everybody. He throws the punches so quick that the effect of the punches now is devastating. And so that was a nasty knockout. Okay. And that's why Kovalov needed to go to the hospital to make sure everything's good. He didn't have a brain bleed and shit like that, especially when you're 36 years of age. Adonis Stevenson got wrecked by Gavorsik. So, But Canelo, man, he's a bad mama jama. All technique, all skill. It was all planned. The way how he put down the knockdown, again, was off of strategy, off of skill. People say Canelo don't have quick feet. He does have quick feet. He got sidestep Kovalov, and Kovalov was not able to match that. He couldn't see the virtual distance that Canelo did when he slid in to the side, and then boom, caught him with 2 overhand rights. And the first overhand right stunned Kovalov. The second overhand right he took pretty good, and he was drifting off to the left, and he caught him with that left hook. Canelo really rips the left hooks. He ripped the left hook to the body, feinted to the body, like Marcos Maidana style, and caught him up top to the chin. And then just finished him off with a perfect right to the chin. I mean, if you get hit with a right to the chin, with a certain amount of speed, you're going to get stopped. Shout out to everybody who's in this chat. I don't even know how you guys came into the chat, but shout out to you guys. We talking boxing here. I don't talk nothing else but boxing. So for those people who think that yes, for those of you who thought that Canelo had all this Hulk power and stuff, you guys again don't understand boxing. Okay, he's sharp. That don't mean he was powerful. Floyd Mayweather, again, I'm gonna go back to him because Canelo's like Floyd. Floyd Mayweather had sharp punching when he was in the lower weight classes. DeMarcus Corley told us that he didn't really feel Floyd's punches like that. He's not really a puncher, but the sharpness of Floyd's punches put down DeMarcus Corley twice. Okay, just quick, sharp punching. That's what. And again, accumulation is not just one; it's like 2, 3. Canelo, to put down Kovalev, he had to hit him with 4 shots. Right? He stunned him with the first one, hit him with the second. He took that better than the first one, but he still drifted off to his left. And then he caught him with a left hook where Kovalev was not expecting the left hook. He was trying to protect the body, and he got caught up top. And that's what really got him, because he wasn't braced for that one. And then he finished him off with the other shot. So it's not like a lot of people don't understand boxing, I guess. They be saying, Canelo have the power to knock out. Like I told you guys, placement trumps power. Okay? Kovalev is probably the harder puncher of the two, probably a heavier puncher of the two. I can't say definitively because, again, I've never been hit by those guys or they never measured the power, but I'm assuming just from the damage that Kovalev has done to his opponents that he is the harder of the two punches, and he's much bigger than Canelo. And based on what Canelo said about Kovalev, and just the way how Canelo's face looked at the end of that fight told me that Kovalev is a pretty hard puncher because he did not catch Canelo with a whole set of punches. He threw a lot of jabs. Canelo had his guard up. That means he was punching through the guard, hitting Canelo still in the head. So Kovalev hits hard. But even in spite of that, Canelo was so sharp that he was able to take out Kovalev. Okay? It was because of the body work, though. The body work was the foundation. Kovalev even said he was trying to protect his body, which told us that, like I said before, Kovalev is very vulnerable to the body. But in this fight, he did a good job of protecting his body. Buddy McGirt had a great game plan. They were fighting a solid fight. He was in the fight. But the fight was slowly playing out in Canelo's favor. Now, for people who's talking about how Canelo got stamina issues and stuff, he had no stamina issues. He was fresh all the way down to the end of the fight. And that's because he ain't got to lose no fucking weight. There's a difference when you don't have to lose weight. Now, if Kovalev, obviously Kovalev, that back-to-back fights was not favorable for him. So there was a couple things that was not favorable. So on this fight, the one thing, and it's a reasonable rehydration clause for somebody who's small, like a Dimitri Bivol, 185 is okay for him, right? A Kovalev is a big light heavyweight. I know a lot of people saying he's a small light heavyweight. He's not. He's a big light heavyweight. He could fight a cruiserweight tomorrow. The problem was that, one, he didn't even make weight the first time. Then the second time, he did not make weight. And then the third time, he had to go and do that extra 15 minutes. And remember, your body's under stress. Extra 15 minutes to lose a quarter pound, that puts more stress on your body, okay? And it's not an exception. This happens to everybody. Gary Russell Jr., he had to go lose 2 pounds, okay? That shit put stress on his body against Lomachenko. So, and then he had a rehydration clause the next day. He had to try and make, which he made. So you got to give him mad props for going into this fight not fully hydrated. He probably rested a lot. He stayed really calm, really composed. He boxed really calm, really composed. I thought he did a beautiful job of boxing. Buddy McGirt did a great job with him. I'm looking forward to his next 2 fights to see how he does. I think he does even better. I think his defense is better than before. I think, the Kovalev that faced Canelo was a better Kovalev than the Kovalev that faced Andre Ward twice. Okay. Andre Ward, you know, credit to Andre Ward on going to Kovalev's body. He had to take a lot of jabs and walk through jabs to get there. Canelo used the perfect game plan for a guy like Kovalev. How do you defend against the jabs? You got to use a two guard. You got to use a two guard to deal with those jabs, and you got to be patient. Take your time, break him down. Anthony Yard and Sergey and his trainer, I can't remember his name right now, Tunde Ajayi, they didn't have the composure. They didn't keep their composure to break down Kovalev. They kept their composure. And the other thing was Anthony Yard wasn't using the right guard all the time. He tried to use the shoulder roll, and sometimes he get caught by Kovalev with the jabs, especially after the 8th round and during the 8th round where he took a lot of jabs just to get on the inside. Canelo was just so strategic, so clinical in how he got to the inside, just showing you the experience he had, which was much more than Kovalev. And he'd faced a lot of top-tier opposition to prepare him for a Kovalev fight. I think the Erislandy Lara fight taught Canelo tons. The Erislandy Lara fight was a great fight for Canelo. And that's why I want him to face Demetrius Andrade at 160, or I want him to face Billy Joe Saunders at 168. I think those are the best and most experienced fighters in their division at this present time, because all the other guys are new guys. Callum Smith's a new guy. Billy Joe Saunders has been a world champion for God knows how long now, maybe 5-6 years. He was the WBO 160-pound champion, and he did a great job. He's undefeated there. Then he came up to 168. He copped a belt there. So he's probably the most experienced of all the 168-pounders. And Demetrius Andrade, who's also WBO champion, he's the 160-pounder. And Canelo is a WBO champion at 175. So I would love Canelo to come down and face either Billy Joe Saunders or Demetrius Andrade. They're all WBO champions. I think at the end of those fights, Canelo's going to have much more in his resume. What I mean by that is, he's ready for those kinds of fighters, because he's faced those kinds of fighters. I still think that Danny Jacobs is a better fighter than Demetrius Andrade. All around, because he's faced better competition. It showed his home skills and what he could do. But at the end of the day, I think that Demetrius Andrade, is sharper. I think he has, he's younger, fresher. So I want to see Canelo face some of these younger, fresher guys. And I think this is the time. Whatever fight he's going to have, I hope it's, this should be, he didn't really have an easy fight with Sergey Kovalev, but it wasn't a tough, grueling fight for him either. He did get some punishment. You saw his face was marked up a bit, and that's because of Kovalev's power. Now, Triple G never did that to him. Danny Jacobs never did it to him. Mayweather never did it to him. Erislandy Lara did swell up one of his eyes, but other than that, no other fight has done this to him. So that tells you Kovalev's power, okay? These are bigger guys. This is a bigger division. In terms of risk versus reward, I'm hearing that Canelo says he's going down to 168 to defend his WBA title, which means he could be facing Callum Smith. If he's defending the WBA title, it means he may face Callum Smith, who's the WBA super champion. I think that's a good matchup. Callum Smith, of course, fresher, younger than Kovalev. He's going to be sharper than Kovalev. So that would be a good matchup for him. Seeing how he fared against Kovalev, Callum Smith has a chance. Okay, he has a chance. I mean, he's not as wildly as Kovalev, but he has a chance. Just watching that Kovalev fight, he can learn a couple of things, or he could take a couple of things into his notepad, and see what he could do against Canelo. Right? I would favor Canelo to win that fight. But I would like to see. I don't have a problem with the Callum Smith fight, but the fight I really want Canelo to face. The guys I really want Canelo to face are guys with all-around game and comparable experience. I think the most experienced fighters right now at 160 and 168 are Demetrius Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders. Those are the most experienced fighters. I think Canelo has unfinished business with both of them. So if you ask me, that those would be the fights that I would want to see him face. Um, and I think they're the tougher fights. At 175, I see haters now thinking that because Artur BDBF has been knocking out everybody, that and he's big and he's fucking strong, that they want to see Canelo get knocked out. The haters want to see him get knocked out, so they're talking about Artur BDBF. Canelo should face him next. Um, Again, like I said before, Canelo is a fighter that will nullify certain things. And if BDBF is strong on the inside, Canelo's not going to stay on the inside with him. He's not going to stay on the inside so he can rough him up and throw him down on the ground. Shit, he's going to box him. He's going to box him mid-range and outside, and he's going to land some nasty body shots on him, head shots on him, and stuff like that. And he's going to outpoint him. He'll just box him and outpoint him because he's got the defense to do that. Unlike Forstick. Okay, he's got the defense. BDBF is, again, a very heavy-handed puncher. So Canelo needs to, and he does work the body pretty well. So Canelo will need to not get hit at all sometimes, or if he's going to get hit on the elbows and hands, but he's going to have to nullify BDBF's power, which means Canelo will have to spar heavyweights because BDBF came down from heavyweights. So he's going to have to spar not just cruiserweights, but heavyweights. And he'll take some punishment in that fight for sure. But he could beat BDBF. He could beat him. But haters want to see Canelo get knocked out. And I'm listening to certain people how sour grapes they are, picking Kovalev to beat Canelo because these guys want to see Canelo lose. They want to see him lose so bad. And they're not thinking with their brains. I listened to Boxing Wave talk about how, Kovalev's a small 175 pounder. He's not a small 175 pounder. What the fuck are you talking about? And just to rationalize Kovalev beating Canelo. And I don't know what it is with people, but you gotta assess the fight as it is, man. When we look at Bivol. Now Bivol is a small light heavyweight. Not even Badger Jack anymore. Badger Jack has grown into light heavyweight. But Bivol can make 168. That's a good fight for Canelo also at light heavyweight or at super middleweight. That's a good fight for Canelo. Maybe he defend against Bivol. Who knows? But what I do know is that's a good fight for Canelo. Very good fight for Canelo. Competitive. Very good fight. Artur BDBF, he's strong. He's beast strong. He's slow. Canelo will be way faster than him. And that's the problem. You see, speed kills, they say. And when you're in a totally different time zone to the other guy, you're not going to waste a whole set of punches, but you're going to be able to, your reaction time is going to just be way quicker than Bivol. I don't see Canelo walking down Bivol. This is one time when he will have to, box him. But the thing about it is, we've seen Canelo do that against Triple G, and Triple G was just way slower than Canelo. And you could just see Bivol missing a whole bunch of punches because Canelo is just so much better than him. It's not like Bivol, first of all, he's going to have to get Canelo timing. How are you going to do that? He going to just be walking around like a zombie. Canelo just be pot shotting him, coming, landing body punches, getting back out. Bivol be trying to throw his hooks to the body and shit. Canelo just be rolling that shit. Bivol gets Canelo on the ropes, and Canelo just be rolling the shit when Bivol try to launch in to rough him up physically. Canelo just check hook him and roll out. Yeah, I can see that happening. And Bivol actually looking clumsy and awkward as fuck, and Canelo just having fun with him. Okay, so I could see that kind of fight. I could see him doing a Floyd Mayweather on Bivol and boxing him off the back foot, and he just can't be touched. All right, and Bivol's a good fighter. He cuts off the ring very well, but Canelo's just that much quicker than him. So he's always going to have the foot speed. He's always going to get in a position before Bivol. So I don't see him knocking out Bivol or anything like that. I heard Bivol's been dropped before and stuff. I don't see him doing that to Bivol. I don't think, again, we have weight classes for a reason. So It's not like I see Canelo stopping Bivol or anything like that. But with Kovalev, I said he would stop Kovalev because Kovalev is suspect to the body, and Kovalev has confirmed all that I said. All that I said, Kovalev has confirmed. Okay, he said he had to protect his body because he suspected the body. Did a great job with it, but and still Canelo still went to that body, right? And for all those guys, G Funky and all the guys that pick Canelo, Boxing Wave and stuff, and G Funky argued with me nonstop. He was telling me, Canelo ain't stopped nobody. He ain't gonna stop Kovalev. And I was like, dude, this is a guaranteed stoppage. It's a guaranteed stoppage. I told him that. And basically Canelo broke him down and then stopped him. He didn't stop him to the body, but the body shot set up the stoppage to the head. All right, it's just what it is, and it's kind of one of those things where, the thing that impressed me was Kovalev's boxing. Is a hell of a lot better than anything I've ever seen. And people talk about, he's poised and all. Listen, man, this dude boxed a great fight. And the problem with you guys is you think power is everything, and you think that. Okay, so when Kovalev is throwing all his power shots and Canelo be blocking them and picking them off, what the fuck is he supposed to do? Then he can't locate Canelo in space. He's been throwing a whole bunch of jabs, but he can't locate Canelo. He can't locate him. Right? Canelo being very tricky with him. Of course you're going to pour your shots. Of course, the smart thing that Kovalev did, he didn't try to tee off because you waste a lot of energy if you miss punches. And Kovalev was missing shots. So he was smart to conserve his energy again. And then he already had the rehydration clause and the stress on his body to make weight. And then that stress on the body coming into another fight, immediately after another fight, that of course he had to conserve his energy. So he was boxing smart. Okay. And again, a lot of people just don't understand it because they've never been in the square circle. Right. So they're saying, oh, this was a fraud, this and was a sparring session and he was taking it easy on Canelo. He wasn't taking shit easy on Canelo. If he could have gotten Canelo out of there, he would have got him out of there. He just didn't know how to figure out how to get him out of there. Okay. And if the knockout come, it come. He was trying to outbox Canelo. He was trying to outpoint Canelo. Obviously, he was trying to do that. He was trying to be the more active fighter. He was trying to box him beautifully. But his heavy hands would do the job. He don't even have to go for the knockout. His heavy hands would do the job. And you saw what happened to Canelo's face. All right? Canelo didn't do that to Kovalev. Kovalev did that to Canelo. Kovalev had a bloody nose and stuff. But so my point anyway is that, the haters, they're looking at reasons now to make excuses. Now, I'm glad that some of them didn't make excuses. But they trying to make it sound like, this was a fixed fight or Canelo is not pound for pound number one after beating this dude. Or, because all of us, including myself, and we were a Canelo fan, I shitted on this fight. I thought Kovalev was suspect to the body. Canelo gonna get him out of there. And easy. I even said easier than when I saw the rehydration problem. And I give Kovalev mad props because in spite of all of that shit, okay, in spite of all of that shit, he boxed a fucking hell of a fight. Okay. And I'm looking forward to seeing him again because I was very much impressed with Kovalev. I knew what Canelo brought to the table. Of course, Canelo brought something totally different to what I thought he was going to bring too. He brought a high guard, persistent pressure, but a high guard, an intelligent way of boxing and coming in and breaking down your opponent that I had not seen. And he nullifies everything that Kovalev was going to do offensively. Pretty much, if Kovalev tried to hook the right, he tried to hook the right around Canelo's guard. His guard was just airtight. It just blocked. He blocked the right that he was trying to hook around. When he tried to jab Canelo, the guard just was in the way all the time. When he tried to throw his uppercuts, because he tried to throw some uppercuts on Canelo, the guard was there to block that. When he tried to use the left hook, the guard was there to block the left hook. So he tried a leaping left hook off a jab. That shit didn't work. So he realized, man, I'm throwing all kinds of shit at this guy. I was even using my jabs against him, and nothing's really landing. But the key here was he kept on boxing around Canelo, circling him like Buddy McGirt said they were going to do. He also made Canelo come get him, which Buddy McGirt said he was going to do. He's trying to set traps for Canelo where he could counter him. And when he tried to counter Canelo, that's when Canelo spring his trap and counter him. So Canelo's, and then the reason was Kovalev was just too slow for Canelo. Okay, Canelo got quicker hands, quicker speed, quicker footwork to get into position, and Canelo is a guy. When you think you outsmarting him and you think you springing a trap on him, he's actually walking you into a trap. And Buddy McGirt has to acknowledge that, and Kovalev even said, Canelo's a great fighter, and it's just what it is. And most boxers in boxing, unless you're a hater, acknowledge that Canelo is the number one pound for pound fighter. Now, a lot of people talking about the clenbuterol issue. Listen, people, I got you. I got you. I understand. Um, and I'm not going to even try to knock that. Okay, there's no excuse. I don't care. Even if he tries to make it sound like it was an accident, even if it was an accident, you're a professional athlete. You have to watch what's going on in your body, and that's going to haunt Canelo for the rest of his career, whether it's deserve it or not. Okay, so I'm not even going to try and defend that shit. But the thing I'm saying is that there's no from what I saw, Canelo didn't look like he was using none of that stuff, and then of course he's being VADA tested. But people will say, well, he got favor in boxing. They could have paid VADA to keep it down on the wraps, maybe. But from what I see from his physique, it didn't look like he was using anything like that. Okay? I think it was just hard work and preparation that brought this fight to what it is. And like I said before, I didn't think he was punching that hard like people say he was. If he was punching that hard, he'd have really marked up Kovalov's face. Okay? Wasn't punching that hard. But just like Andre Ward, I try to explain this to you guys. Andre Ward is not known as a hard puncher, but accumulation of punishment. Andre Ward rocked Sergey Kovalev. The only difference is when Canelo rocked him, he finished him. Canelo finished Kovalev. All right. Ward rocked Kovalev. Elita Alvarez rocked him. And again, Kovalev does not go down like that. He got a lot of heart. I was expecting multiple knockdowns in this fight. That did not happen. Instead, it was just one, continuous barrage of punches and combinations that put down Kovalev. And that was that. He was done. So, I got to give Kovalev props for how he fought. But yes, when it comes to Canelo, he is pound for pound number one fighter in the world. Whether you guys like him or not, whether you feel that he's getting favor in boxing or not, honestly, the franchise championship that WBC gave him does not help him. The fucking wide scores that some of these judges did not help him. And that's why some people thought he lost fights, okay? When CJ Ross scored it 114 with the Mayweather fight, even Canelo said, nah, man, come on. Canelo was like, Mayweather was like, what the fuck, right? That's the kind of idiotic scoring we're seeing. And I think Oscar's behind that. I think Golden Boy and Oscar fucks up Canelo. Canelo's legacy could have been so much cleaner, so much better. But I think that Oscar De La Hoya tries to protect him in the background. I wouldn't be surprised the rehydration clause was Oscar's idea. I think Canelo didn't give a fuck. It was like, man, I'm just going to face this dude. Because you get that feeling that Canelo's this dude does not give a fuck. Except when it comes to Demetrius Andrade. He be bucking, man. He buck with Demetrius Andrade. He gonna face him. He gonna face Demetrius Andrade. I'm not thinking that he's, but the reply that he gave for Demetrius Andrade was the biggest set of bullshit I ever heard. First time I heard Canelo bullshit. Like he bullshitted. Usually he goes to the fight. Erislandy Lara, he could get it, right? Austin Trout, he went to the fire. When it comes to Demetrius Andrade, all of a sudden this motherfucker is quiet. And I just don't get it. Personally, I think he beats Demetrius Andrade, right? Got all experience and all that shit. This motherfucker quiet when it comes to Demetrius Andrade, though. You know what I'm saying? And that's interesting to me because everybody says, he's boring or whatever, they get to bypass Demetrius Andrade. And then they go, Gennady Golovkin never mentioned Demetrius Andrade's name. When the fight was presented to Gennady Golovkin, he said, nope. The manager, Tom Loeffler said, nope, somebody else, right? And that's interesting because, Demetrius Andrade is not as experienced as Danny Jacobs, and Gennady Golovkin, okay, he had a hard time with Danny Jacobs. Canelo had an easier time than Gennady Golovkin with Danny Jacobs, right? But they pushed him for a third fucking Golovkin fight when that's not a problem for Canelo. He done already. He knows how to deal with this guy and beat him, right? And then Golovkin got his ass beat by Derevyanchenko. Y'all still want a third fight to do what? So you can say that Golovkin was old, and then Canelo knocks his fucking ass out, or really severely hurts him, and he has to go to the hospital. He already went to the hospital against Derevyanchenko. What do you think is going to happen with Canelo? What do you think is going to happen with Canelo? Canelo been fighting at light heavyweight. Okay? Canelo's just fought at light heavyweight. A Canelo that goes in and faces Gennady Golovkin could kill him. He possibly could kill him. We also saw that he could have killed Kovalev as well, right? That knockout was devastating, right? So, I mean, I don't consider it the knockout of the year. We got Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. I don't care what y'all say. That's more epic. Because Andy Ruiz was the underdog. Canelo wasn't the underdog in this fight. And a lot of people expected Canelo to stop Kovalev, okay? But knockout of the year was Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. So y'all stop bullshitting, okay? I don't know. I don't care. People jump on people's dicks like I don't understand the shit, okay? Let's be real. Let's like I try to be as real and as truthful as possible, okay? The knockout of the year was Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. He knocked him out 4 times. Anthony Joshua did get back up, but I mean, he was going to dust his ass. He was going to destroy Anthony Joshua, okay? So that's the knockout of the year. And just based on the legacy of the guys, the heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua was expected to win. You know, Andy Ruiz was a big underdog. That's the knockout of the year. Let's be real. But Canelo, he knocked him out. Like it wasn't a TKO. That was a knockout. Stopped, severed the dissensions and shit like that. But Kovalev, man, he put forth a hell of a fight. He shouldn't. He has nothing to be ashamed of. Buddy Murray really knows what to do with Kovalev. The only thing, like I said before, is he needs to have some strength and conditioning training the right way, not no fucking steroids or PEDs or whoever. He needs a proper strength and conditioning coach to be able to help him to make that weight. I know Kovalev's going to take a time off from boxing. You know, he had 2 grueling back-to-back fights. So he's going to take a break from boxing. He's going to come back probably later if, because he's up in age. So he has to think about, is this his last fight? He may have 2 other fights, maybe a tune-up fight and then a big fight. Maybe it'll be in Russia. And if he does well in those, and he's back on the top, he's back at the top of the ladder. And he's going to get probably first shot at the WBO title. So he might be able to get back his WBO title if Canelo vacates. If Canelo doesn't vacate the WBO title, he stays up there and decides to face a 175 pounder. Kovalev going to have a little bit of problems with that. But if Canelo vacates and he goes down to 168 or 160, should be good. Should be good for him, I think he should go down to 168 and fight one of those 168 pounders, young, fresh guys. Or he could face Bivol at 168. Bivol is willing to even go down to 168 and face Canelo. That would be a good fight. Bivol's not a big light heavyweight. He and Canelo's probably about the same size, so that would be good. Probably punch a little harder than Canelo too. So I would love to see that. That's a good fight. Canelo has a lot of options, of course. But what I'm saying about these haters, man, and this is just what it is. Haters out here want to deny him pound for pound #1 status. First of all, I was listening to, Beeb and, Ringside Reporter, and they got the facts wrong. Terence Crawford is not a 4-divisional champion. He's a 3-divisional champion. He started off at lightweight, not at 130. Okay, he became a champion at lightweight, then super lightweight, he became undisputed champion, and then at welterweight, he is a champion, one of the champions, okay? Lomachenko, same thing. He started off at featherweight, became a champion at featherweight, defended that quite a lot. Then he went up to super featherweight, defended that quite a lot, and now he's at lightweight. Okay, unifying. So they are 3 divisional champions. Canelo has gone through 6 fucking weight classes. He started off at super lightweight, then he went to welterweight, then he went to super welterweight, then he went to middleweight, then he fought 2 fights at super middleweight, and now he's going up to light heavyweight, and he's won a title. I don't think that he won the title at super middleweight. So I think he's a 3-divisional world champion. authentic. That is, he's got versions of the belts. He's not undisputed, but he's got versions of the belt. So he's the WBC, WBA Unified Super Welterweight Champion. He was the WBC, WBA, IBF Middleweight World Champion, and he was the light heavyweight WBO light heavyweight champion. The WBA regular super middleweight champion is not a real championship. He has to beat Callum Smith to become the WBA champion. And if he does face Callum Smith, which is a good fight for him to have, he can legitimate his fourth divisional title. At this present time, he's not. Okay, I don't recognize it either. Like most people, I'm not a hater because of that. Like I said before, I'm a Canelo fan, but I'm a real honest, truthful person. Don't forget, I see you guys smashing the like button and stuff. I don't know who it is that's smashing it. Could be Tommy Temper. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Get This Smoke. Get This Smoke is real. He said, man, I was wrong about this fight. I picked the wrong dude. But I got to give Get This Smoke credit. Kovalev fought a hell of a fight. Really good fight. The strategy, the game plan was about being smart, being sharp. He wasn't as sharp as Canelo, but he was sharp. So I give Get This Smoke a lot of credit for acknowledging that he was wrong and not making no fucking excuses like these haters out here. And all of these other people who, they just keep on bashing on Canelo. And it just reminds me of the Floyd Mayweather situation where people hated on Floyd. And the fact that some of the Mexican public, not all, a lot of Mexican people like Canelo, okay? A lot. It's just, the vocal ones, because Julio Cesar Chavez, he's a Canelo fan, clearly. Eric Morales, as much as he criticizes Canelo, has said that Canelo won. Eric Morales, Eric Morales, Marquez is a hater, but Eric Morales acknowledged, and Marco Antonio Barrera acknowledged that Canelo won the first Triple G fight. They thought he out finessed and outboxed Triple G. So did Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. on their telecast. But these guys know boxing. Fucking Marquez was a hater, so it is what it is. Marquez doesn't like Canelo for whatever reason. He does not like Canelo. Maybe Canelo is threatening his legacy or some. I don't know what it is. But Canelo's only 30 or 29. Sorry, he got a lot of fights ahead of him. So if he beats some of these undefeated champions, if he continues to win, y'all can't deny him. You're gonna have to call him the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. And I think a lot of people don't want to say that shit. They don't want to say that. A lot of them just hate on Canelo. But as he continues to prove them wrong and get the wins legitimately, the problem with these things is we're not getting sometimes the judges' scorecards, man. I heard the judges, two of the judges' scorecards had it for Canelo, 96, 94. One judge had it even. I had it even like that judge. Kovalev fought a hell of a fight. I mean, I keep it real with you guys. He was in that fucking fight. Okay, he was in that fight. And Canelo was going Canelo's way in terms of body punching and wearing him down. But Kovalev had restricted the progression of Canelo and wearing him down. It's not that he was denying Canelo access to his body. Canelo was getting in there, but he did all the right things to slow down the process of Canelo getting into his body and stopping him, right? And Canelo, to his tremendous credit, kept his composure. Unlike with the Arislandi Lara fight where he did not keep his composure, in this fight he kept his composure, and because he kept his composure, he was able to see what he needed to do, the available places where he could land his punches, and Canelo did a hell of a job going to the body. Because what was available and presented to him, he utilized. He took advantage of it. He set some traps as well, even though he was walking down. Kovalev, he set some traps as well. It was a good, well-contested chess match. Very good boxing on both sides. I think that Kovalev, if he comes back to boxing, he might be 37 years at that time. If he comes back to boxing, he needs a tune-up fight, and then he's boxing so much smarter than the Kovalev I know. And Buddy McGirt should be proud. Kovalev should be proud. It's very, very smart boxing. Still got the power. We see what happened to Canelo's face. He still got that power. He still got that pop. But um, he's boxing a lot smarter. I don't think Elita Alvarez beats him again. I don't think that. I mean, Bevo's a hell of a fighter, so I can't say that Bevo won't beat him. But I think it's going to be competitive, and I think if he can keep his defense tight, I think he can make it to the finish bell and be a competitive fight. It'll be a close fight, maybe even split decision, because Bevo's a small, light heavyweight, and Kovalev boxing really good right now. B to BF. Woo! BWF is on another level. If Kovalev tries to clinch BWF is gonna rough his ass up. He's gonna rough his ass up. BWF is a win over Kovalev. Do I think Kovalev could beat BWF? Not at this point in time. I think BWF will beat him. I think BWF will beat him. He already got that one up on him in the amateurs. BWF is very strong, very physically strong, goes to the body. Kovalev will protect his body and all of that, but I could see him mixing it up from body to head. And, if Kovalev can protect his head and he can have that conditioning, it's the condition. He's going to have conditioning for people, strength and conditioning. He's going to have to be stronger. He's going to have to be stronger, and he'll have to be well conditioned to deal with a BWF, to go 12 rounds with him. If he can go 12 rounds with BWF, he can beat him. Okay, Usyk did it, and he beat BWF. But if he can't go 12 rounds with BWF, he fucked. BWF is going to knock him out, Shout out to you guys for smashing that like button. Don't forget you can subscribe, share, comment, and of course, donate via Western Union or MoneyGram. So, I mean, when I look at this fight with Kovalev, at least there's one fighter in that division, Gvozdyk too, where, he could possibly win the fight. I would still favor the other guys to beat him, but he could win the fight, because he's getting his body, he's protecting his body better. Still vulnerable to the body, but he's protecting his body better. So he has a chance of making it to the finish line, and he boxes so well that he could possibly take those fights, maybe by split decision or something like that. But he could take those fights. And those guys are jabbers too, so don't get it twisted. But him against BWF would not be it would not end well. BWF could possibly kill him. So I wouldn't particularly like to see him face BWF, especially at that age. Especially what happened to Adonis Stevenson. I wouldn't want to see him against BWF. But if it happens, it happens. I mean, it's gonna look ugly though. Interestingly enough, the fight did not turn out to be a Rocky Fielding fight. It did not turn out to be ugly, so I was wrong about that as well. With Canelo. Canelo still landed some really sharp, dig into the body of Kovalev, but for the most part, it took him a while to wear him down. It took a good while. 11 rounds, folks. It took him 11 rounds to wear down Kovalev to the extent that he could knock him out. It was much longer than we thought. I thought it was going to take him out in 6 or within 6. That was my most recent one, or within 8. Didn't happen. In fact, in the 8th round, Kovalev came back and looked really sharp and strong in the 8th round. So Kovalev, you got to give Kovalev a lot of credit. He fought a really good fight. I was impressed. He surprised me. And Canelo got him out in the 11th, but he fought a very, very good fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Kovalev does next. Because he's faced such elite competition, he's going to have a lot to say. He's going to be the A side in any negotiations, which could lead to things being in his favor. So whereas Canelo was the A side and he had things in his favor, Kovalev is going to be the A side against whoever he faces at light heavyweight, which will give him some favor. And I think that's going to also help him. All right, it's early in the morning, so I know that a lot of you guys were not able to see this video, and that's okay. It's cool. You guys will see it later. But I want to just give a shout out to Get This Smoke and Tommy Temper. we're still going to try and work something out, guys. It's just been taking me a little bit longer to get things really popping. If you guys have a stream where you want to discuss this fight, we can. Deontay Wilder versus Luis King Kong Ortiz is an interesting fight because the strength and conditioning coach for Sean Porter is actually with Luis Ortiz, and that's significant. That is significant. That's going to make this rematch much more interesting. And we've had, you know, what's the interesting thing about this year? The underdogs in this year have really showed up. The underdogs have really showed up this year. Um, you know, I got almost all my predictions correct. I don't know if I talked to you guys about the fights about Jason Sosa versus Miguel Berchelt. But Miguel Berchelt fought off the back foot against Jason Sosa, showed he could box and stuff, had decent defense. Jason Sosa, man, he got tagged up he got really badly tagged up. This could have ended up in being a fatality. Could have been a very bad fight, assault on the highest degree. Berchelt was he dropped Sosa twice. He was really punishing him, beating him up. His face was bloody. He took a fucking beating, man. And I'm glad that the corner threw in the towel on him because he was taking unnecessary punishment, man. It would take years off his career. So Jason Sosa lost to Miguel Berchelt. Very good performance by Miguel Berchelt. And you can see that he's evolving into one of the best super featherweights out there. Hold on a second. I'm just going to use the bathroom here. Let me put this in. Go pee. Yeah, Jason Sosa's an overachiever. You can see that he doesn't have the amateur pedigree behind him. Miguel Berchelt having the amateur pedigree. Jason Sosa, I think, had a few amateur fights before he got into the pros. We saw Lomachenko just pretty much take apart Jason Sosa. Miguel Berchelt basically did the same thing. He just had much more pop and much more power, and took him out much faster. And I mean, that's the thing. When Lomachenko, you see Jason Sosa versus Lomachenko, a lot of people might say I'm hating on Lomachenko, but you realize, like with Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Gill, you realize that these fighters are not A-level fighters. Jason Sosa is not a fucking A-level fighter, right? Elite fighters just run him over. Like Berchelt just ran this guy over. So everybody was like praising Lomachenko for beating up Jason Sosa because Jason Sosa, he had a competitive fight against Yurikis Gamboa, who was not a true lightweight at the time. But when you really think about it, he tough, he gritty, he tried to do something on the inside, but Jason Sosa just a fucking punching bag. No disrespect to him, but you be in the wrong range. You be sticking your head in the wrong range. You taking a whole set of punishment, man. And that, again, no amateur background. So so Lomachenko was able to run rings around him. But I'm pretty sure if Lomachenko had faced Miguel Berchelt, it would be a totally different story. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Lomachenko's not really facing elite fighters. The elite fighters he faced, the fighters are much more competitive. And we're talking B-plus level fighters, like Jose Pedraza. Jorge Linares was an A-level guy, but he had a suspect chin, and his eyes always used to get messed up, right? And he gets dropped, right? And he was able to drop Jorge Linares because of the flaws and the holes in his defense and stop him. But not before Jorge Linares dropped him, right? And Jorge Linares is a good fighter, okay? But look at this. Luke Campbell had a close fight with Jorge Linares. I didn't think so, but that's what they had in the scorecards. That's what the judges thought so. So at the end of the day, when he faced Luke Campbell, who's a good fighter, but he ain't no A-level fighter, right? When he faced Luke Campbell gave him all the problems in the world. All right. So when you think about it, has Lomachenko really faced top tier competition. He faced Guillermo Rigondeaux now, but Guillermo Rigondeaux's coming up 2 weight classes to face him. Okay, Guillermo Rigondeaux is not Canelo. We saw Mikey Garcia try to do that same thing, go up 2 weight classes to face Errol Spence. And he was at a disadvantage because of his length and reach. You know, and I'm just saying that, people making this thing with Lomachenko did great, but when you think about it, man, if you really think about it, who has Lomachenko really faced? Pedraza was, you saw what Gervonta Davis did to Pedraza, okay? Lomachenko dropped him, but he didn't do what Gervonta Davis did to him, and Gervonta Davis is an elite fighter again. So I'm just saying, when you look at what the elite fighters have been doing, to these same opponents, that Lomachenko, he's doing okay, but he's not doing as well as the elite fighters. Jorge Linares dropped Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell came back and fought and stuff. Lomachenko dropped him too, and he beat Jorge Linares, but it was a competitive fight. Lomachenko, people be rating him and stuff, and I'm giving him his props. I'm gonna give him his props. He been beating people since his loss to Salido. He been beating people, but the people he's beaten are not really the elite top tier fighters. Well, they are. Like Jorge Linares was. He was the man, but he just recently got stopped. He just recently got stopped by another dude. A no-namer dude, I think it was. No, it was Pablo Cesar Cano, I think it was, that stopped him, right? I'm just saying. Maybe it's because, the beating he took from Lomachenko. Maybe it's that. But at the end of the day, it kind of makes Lomachenko's wins look like, well, this dude could do the same thing that Lomachenko did. You know what I'm saying? The same thing I'm trying to say about Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, he beats Amir Khan. But then again, Amir Khan been avoiding the whole entire fucking welterweight division, right? The elite welterweights. He's even avoiding Kell Brook. He beat Jeff Horn. But which top tier welterweight wouldn't have beaten Jeff Horn? You see what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. So with Lomachenko, when you look at it, everybody rating him this high pound for pound dude. But when you think about, I'm just being realistic. I'm bringing an idea before. Not trying to be a Lomachenko hater. If you want to make me a hater of anybody, it's Triple G. Okay? Overhyped motherfucker. Okay? Good fighter, but he's overhyped. Okay? They had him pound for pound #1 in the world. It's that kind of shit that really annoys me when they overhype a fighter. All right? I don't overhype Canelo. You notice I don't overhype Canelo. People want to say that Canelo is the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. Fuck no. He ain't. Okay? Not right now. Okay? And let's be real about that. I give him his props for beating Kovalev when I look at how well Kovalev boxed in spite of everything. Because, as y'all know, I predicted that he would get stopped within 6. And this motherfucker defended his body very well, moved, good footwork, kept the jab in Canelo's face, even though it wasn't really that effective. And, he was throwing his punches really sensibly. But having said all that, I ain't no fucking Canelo fan like that. I criticize him for the Demetrius Andrade fight he avoided. Okay? And I'll continue to criticize him for it. Okay? Back to what I was saying. So when I look at Lomachenko, Lomachenko, he's not really faced. The only elite fighter he faced was Yurkus Gambo. What I'm saying. Guillermo Rigondeaux. Okay? And he did good. He did good against Guillermo Rigondeaux, made Guillermo Rigondeaux quit. But Guillermo Rigondeaux had to go up 2 weight classes to face him. 2 fucking weight classes. Okay? Then, when we look at, what's his other marquee wins? Nicholas Walters. Nicholas Walters don't move his feet, right? We all know that. He didn't know how to do pivot work and shit. Good fighter. Great fighter. Good fighter. But he didn't have good pivot work. Right? So Lomachenko was able to run rings around him. Beating Nonito Donaire. Nicholas Walters was a good fighter. Don't get it twisted. You look at the other opponents, they're good. They're not great. Okay? When you look at the guys now that are in this division, red hot, we're talking Gervonta Davis, we're talking Devin Haney, we're talking Ryan Garcia, we're talking Comey and Teofimo Lopez. I think I still don't have confidence in Lopez. He talk a good talk, but Richard Comey, I don't see him as a Javante Davis, Ryan Garcia, or Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? I don't see him as a Gary Russell Jr. I don't see him as a I don't see him as a Shakur Stevenson. I don't see him as a that kind of fighter. Okay. Um, so my point anyway is there are levels to the sport of boxing, and these young and upcoming fighters, they're really sharp, they're really quick, they're really fast, they got great boxing IQ. They still got a lot of inexperience, yeah, but their boxing IQ is off the charts. I'm just saying those guys are who Lomachenko need to face. Now he's old. He's not that old, but he's old. He's not really a fast fighter like those guys. I think he'd have problems. Even though he faced Gary Russell Jr., he got the win over Gary Russell Jr., even though Gary Russell Jr. knocked his ass down. And they never counted that. If they did, Gary Russell Jr. would have won the fight. But it is what it is. But at the end of the day, Lomachenko is fighting very good opposition. I think that, his win over Luke Campbell was very good. But at the end of the day, Luke Campbell's giving them problems. People will say, well, Luke Campbell's is a great fighter. Yeah, but when Luke Campbell faces Devin Haney, which will happen next year, we'll see how good he really was. There's going to be see, the thing with Devin Haney and these guys is there's a separation from those good fighters. They're going to separate themselves from it. It's not going to be a close fight like how Canelo has close fights. It's going to be a separation, okay? But again, with Canelo, he's moving up weight classes. So, but I'm just showing you with Canelo, he's facing tougher competition. That's why there's not as much separation. They're kind of like, he's at a certain level and they're at a certain level with him. Whereas with Lomachenko, he was able to face competition that was not really, or the conditions were such that it wasn't really, he looked like he was separated from them, but he wasn't really, with elite competition that's coming out today. So you even got Miguel Belcher, but I don't think Miguel Belcher is anywhere on the level of a Shakur Stevenson or Javante Davis or like Josh Warrington. I don't think Josh Warrington's on the level of Shakur Stevenson either. I don't think so. Warrington is more of a strong, aggressive fighter. Bring the heat on you, but I think that Shakur Stevens, is just that much notch ahead of Josh Warrington. Now let's see if his toughness and his strength could impose something on Shakur Stevenson. That's the question. But I think Shakur, skill-wise and boxing-wise, is a superior fighter to Josh Warrington. I'd love to see that fight. I'd love to see a whole set of fights, Like, the only thing is I know Kovalev could get really badly damaged against Arthur Bitabayev. Okay? I still want to see the fight, though. So what I'm basically saying is that when you look at the boxers, the fighting, the styles and stuff, I think that there are these exceptional fighters that Lomachenko should make fights with. Javante Davis is an incredible fighter, period. He's not being matched properly, but he's an incredible fighter, period. I've seen his amateur fights, and this motherfucker, he'd be taking on guys much bigger than him and beat the shit out of them. He'd be fighting going backwards. He's incredible. Okay, Devin Haney's an incredible fighter, and of course Ryan Garcia showed us that he's just in a totally different spectrum to Duno. Okay, I'd like to see him face Sparrow as well. I don't know if they'll still try and make that fight happen. Sparrow can he'll probably get dusted by Ryan Garcia as well. Because Duno didn't belong in the ring with Ryan. That's basically what Ryan showed. All right, so Ryan needs much higher level competition. They need to step up their competition on Ryan. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to talk about the haters, these people who hate on Canelo and making excuses for why Kovalev lost. Don't make excuses for why he lost. He fought a hell of a fight, though. He fought a hell of a fight. He was in that fight on scorecards wise. And you got to give him mad props. Kovalev, I give him mad props. He is a true champion. He will bounce back if he does come, and he might do it in a record-setting way, like at the age of 37, win back the world championship. It's very possible if Canelo doesn't stay at light heavyweight. You know, now people are talking about Canelo going to cruiserweight. I don't think that's a good idea. I think he maxes out at light heavyweight. I don't think he should go any further. Given the right fight, the right conditions, he could go to cruiserweight, but I think he's maxed out. That's it. There's no more he can go. He looked really good at light heavyweight, though. He looked very good, sharp, crisp, lots of energy. You know, I give him, I give him a year or so, and then he could stay at light heavy. He's small light heavy though. Small light heavy. He's like B-ball. You know, people think he has great punching power. He don't really got that great punching power. He put the shots together. Crisp. He's sharp. You know, but you can tell he's a smaller dude. All right, peoples. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I don't have any. I'm never stressed out about Canelo. He got that defense, man. He got that defense. He's a bad motherfucker, man. He got defense. So you never have to stress out about Canelo. He may not win all his fights, but he definitely ain't gonna get knocked out or hurt very badly. All right, people. I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys later in the next video. Peace.